Hey gang, Caleb Shaw, and we are back again. We're gonna mix it up a little bit this time. Happy Friday, thanks for tuning in. As always, like the page, share the page, click on it, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we're gonna mix it up. Instead of going through all the listings this week, I wanted to bring in the one, the only Miss Traci Green with Wallach and Volt. If you've ever closed a loan or bought a house in Victoria and used Miss Traci in her office, you will know that she is the best of the best of the best. It really helps having a varsity lender in your corner. It's really nice to have someone that knows more than you in the process. If you're buying a house and you know more than your lender, you probably shouldn't be using that lender. Just throwing that out there. But that being said, everybody kind of hits on, so you want to buy a house. Here's how you do it. Here's what you do. Well, that's kind of easy. That stuff, well, not easy, but it's standard. What I kind of want to hit is from a different angle. If you really want to buy a house, it's real easy to screw it up. It's real easy to mess up. And we kind of want to go through the different things that will prepare you for success instead of dropping a giant roadblock right in front of yourself or getting super excited and then killing the deal yourself. Because it's easier to screw up buying a house than it is probably to buy a house. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Miss Traci Green. How long have you been doing loans, if you don't mind me asking?
100 years.
That's what I thought. I was going to say 101, but I knew it would get me in trouble.
It feels like 100. I've been doing home loans in Victoria since 1998.
1998. Mm-hmm. And before that, your mother was doing them also, correct?
She was here 2 years before I came, 2 or 3 years before I came. So she's been here 103.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. And that's why she does the math, because she's my numbers lady. I notice a lot of, as I go through this, that, there's several different things that I'm sure you see as often as I do, where as soon as people start thinking about real estate, everybody they know becomes a realtor overnight,
oh, yeah.
and everybody has all this great advice for them. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to not do. Here's who you need to talk to, etc. But I've found out there's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people are rocking off of bad information, and they're just setting themselves up for failure right out the gate.
Well, so here's the thing. Not everybody's credit's the same. Everybody that's telling you they just bought a house, you're not buying the same price house, the taxes aren't the same, you're not putting the same amount of money down, you're not doing the same loan type. Your situation is completely different than theirs. Even if they bought their house a month ago, their debt to income ratio is not the same as yours. Again, their credit score is not the same. They don't have as much money in the bank as you do after your closing. They're not putting the exact amount down, so you're not buying the exact same house. So your payment's not going to be the same as the guy you work with that bought a house last month.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to put anything down, and you're putting down 20% so you don't pay mortgage insurance. Well, he's a veteran.
Right.
A VA loan is 100% financing with no mortgage insurance. You're not. So every single situation is different. That's why we have to tailor the loan to you, to what is best for your situation. Are you going to be in the house for 30 years? Or are you just buying this so that you don't have to pay rent? You're going to be in it 5 to 7. So, everybody's situation is different, so every loan is different.
And that was just amazing. That's great news there, or great information there. And what I've kind of found out is my wife thinks I can read her mind. I love her to death, but I cannot read her mind. Neither can Miss Traci as your lender, or myself as your realtor, or whoever your realtor is. We can't read your mind. This is not one of those situations where the used car scenario, when you go, or a new car, and you go and you like the car, and you think you have to downplay it, talk about how much you hate the car because you really like it, but you want to get a good deal on it, all that stuff. Wrong. You need to tell her your stuff.
Be honest.
Yes.
I work for you. When I'm doing your loan, I work for you. So be honest with me and tell me what your needs are so that we can get you in the right product.
Yes, and she is in your corner. She handles those things, and that's her job. Let her do it and set her up for success so she can get you there. I like that point of every case is different, because I get that a lot from people as well. Joe Schmo at work did it this way. I don't understand, Caleb. Why are you doing it, et cetera, et cetera. And, and I always tell people, if Joe Schmo is right, that's great. We'll adapt that. It's not about doing it our way. It's about doing what's right. But our way is kind of based upon experience and stuff that has led us there. We're not just shooting from the hip and making stuff up as we go.
This isn't the third loan I've ever done. It's not the third house you've ever sold, or your third borrower. So
yes,
there's years of experience behind what we're doing and the reason that we're telling people certain things.
Perfect. I'm going to give you a scenario that I get a lot. Because I've got all these different properties, which tune in next week, you'll hear all of our great listings. But I've got all these wonderful properties, and I have people call up, and as we list these things, part of our contracts with the sellers is we will have pre-approved buyers come look at these homes. But I get the call all the time, and it's usually in the 300 range for some reason. But I get this call and hey, this new $350,000 house hit the market. I want to go look at it. Well, are you pre-approved? Well, no. Why do I need to get pre-approved now? Let me go look at the house first, and then I'll go get pre-approval. And they get awful mad at me when I say no, and I try to pump the brakes on them and let them know that there's kind of an order to do this in, and that order is not just for us. That order is as much for them and to protect them and set them up as it is for us, but we're not just trying to make things hard for them. And so, like I said, I always get that, well, I don't want to get pre-approved. Why do I have to get pre-approved? And then they'll sometimes dump me to go find somebody that will start showing them houses when they're not pre-approved. Can you tell me well, two things that we can get to is I want a pre-approval versus pre-qual, but in the very beginning, why is it important for people to get pre-approved before they go out and start looking at houses?
Well, you need to know what that house payment's going to be, and you need to know how much it's going to cost you to buy that house with what your situation is, not with your mom when they bought a house 20 years ago, or like I said, your coworker that bought one last month. Your situation's different. You need to know what the payment is on that $300,000 house. If you don't like that payment, why are you looking at the $300,000 house? If that payment is less than what you really wanted, maybe you should be looking at the $350 and not the $300. There's all kinds of things that play into this. What is your down payment going to be per your situation? What are your closing costs going to be?
Now, what I get a lot is well, I looked online and I know I can afford this house, and I'll be honest here. When I was first looking at real estate, before I had a realtor, before I ever talked to a wonderful lender, before I ever did anything, I was guilty of this myself. I went on and I started looking at houses, and I found that little deal that was the monthly payment little estimator, whatever, and I punched that in, and on a $300,000 house, it was only like $1,100 or something. I was like, hey, I can afford this. This is easy.
Right, but so that calculator is estimating taxes and insurance, but it's not for this area. Our taxes in Victoria are high. You've talked about that.
If they even throw those in.
Right.
I do
So a lot of times you're looking at just principal and interest. If you don't put 20% down, you have to have your taxes and insurance in your payment. If you don't put 20% down on most loan types, you do have some type of mortgage insurance, and it may not be calculating that either. So you could be getting principal and interest. And if you're getting taxes and insurance, every time I've looked at one of those calculators, it's not the correct taxes and insurance rates for this area.
If they even include them at all.
Right.
Right.
So the payment you're looking at on there is not the true payment. So the pre-qualification is free. It doesn't cost anybody anything. The only thing I hear is, oh, I don't want you to check my credit. I don't want you to check my credit. Well, your credit report's good for 4 months. And if you don't find a house in that 4 months, I don't automatically re-pull your credit. So say we pre-qualify you, you go look, you don't find anything. 6 months later, you found a house. You'll request me to pull credit. I don't automatically do it every 4 months.
Gotcha.
And as long as you're not out letting everybody pull your credit, you let one person pull your credit, then if you want to shop later on, you have your credit scores. You don't have to let every lender pull your credit. So there's really no disadvantage. It's free.
And
I can give you the payments.
Say hypothetically they went to another lender 2 months ago, and then they come to you, they need to tell you up front, hey, just so you know,
I'm shopping rates.
Yes,
I'm
and
shopping
then
rates
that way
and
you
closing
don't
costs.
go do that and potentially
Right. And here's what my credit score is. I'm shopping rates and closing costs. Can you send me an estimate? Every lender could do that for you.
Perfect. I like it. Okay, so and I'll tell you guys, a lot of times, let's say you get approved at 250. It does not mean automatically that you want to go to 249.9. I always tell my people to leave some wiggle room, because it's not a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when taxes go up and
your insurance will go up over the years.
Right.
Your insurance will go up too.
Right. No, great points, and so that leads me into my next thing let me finish that point is, they go often we start looking at those 350 houses, and before I will ever make an offer, once they find the property, I like to send them back to you, and I have them run those numbers before we ever put it. And no matter how many times I tell them up front, if they're approved at 250, they usually start at the 249.9, which is fine. But then a lot of times they'll get that payment, and it's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to look at houses at 249.
Why if you talk to me first,
we're going to hit that 150 range.
You don't go find the house you love, and you can afford the payment.
Perfect.
So look in the price range for the payment that you're comfortable with, so that you don't get in and get house poor.
Perfect. So let's say they do it all correctly. They show up, they get that pre-approval, they're good to go. They've discussed loan type, payments, etc., all this with you. Then they come over to me, they give me the rundown, we go find them a house. Is it just that simple, and they don't have to do anything, and this all just happens, and no, they can't screw this up anyway, or
Well, here's the ways you can't screw it up.
Yes.
Here's 10 of them.
This is one of my favorite
First big 10.
little things, and because sadly, probably between the two of us, we have probably
Every one of
crossed.
these has
Yep,
happened.
every one of these, and people don't know, and they get excited. And I'm gonna steal one off the list to talk
go
about
right
it.
ahead.
Is you know I've had it happen a couple times where we're at inspections or sometimes even at a closing, and the customer, the client comes up and they're super excited, like, man, I cannot believe that in the same week I'm buying a house and a new truck. Like, what a week. This is just so awesome. And it's like, oh no, I don't think you're buying a new house anymore. And then that debt to income ratio just blows right past. And
So here, number 2, thou shalt not buy a car, truck, van unless you want to live in it.
that the verbiage
mean,
on that is it's hard to beat that.
We made this to be funny so that people would remember, so it would stick with you. So if you go out and you buy a new car and you're like, oh, that payment's only $150 more than my last one was, that's no big deal. I don't need to tell my lender. Yeah, you do. When you sign the initial loan documents with me, that is what your credit, these are the debts your credit reports say. If you alter that, you need to tell me. So that 150 may knock you out of qualifying for the house. So you may have to take it back. I've had people take it back. You may have to go pay off a debt you weren't planning on spending the money to pay off to get that debt to income ratio down to where you still qualify for the house. This happens a lot of times.
A lot, and that makes me kind of segue. I heard the credit stuff. Before they just go and automatically start paying this and paying that and trying to pay this off, and while I hate debt and I'm all for paying it down and getting rid of it, I always suggest that they come talk to you first and say, hey, because I always tell people, let's even say you're short of your credit score or what have you, or you want to get it, improve it and get it better. I tell them to work with you on that. So while they're trying to help themselves, they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
Right. So I have a lot of people that, I'm going to pay this, and this off. I know I need to qualify. Well, the loan program that we get together and we decide, maybe that's an FHA and maybe it allows a higher debt to income ratio than what you think, what you've got stuck in your head. So you could keep that money in the bank and then you could pay those debts off later, or the debt you want to pay off because it's got the high interest has a little bitty payment. When you paid off the debt over here that has a higher payment, it's going to help you qualify versus spending your money on this debt. So it's always best if you're paying off debt to qualify for a house to talk to your lender first. So make sure you pay off the right things and you don't go spend the money and it didn't help you.
Here's the thing, guys. If I went to any of you all's job, there's a really, really, really good chance, and unless you happen to be a realtor, that I'm not going to know how to do it. And I'm not going to just slide right in and be successful day one and be top producer, any of those type of things. It's the same here. Like I said, she is in your corner. It is her job to take you to the finish line. But if you withhold information, if you don't put all your cards on the table, if you do any of those things, she can't help you. And as much as I like to pretend like I'm the important guy in the transaction, to a degree, I'm kind of a glorified door opener or paper pusher because I don't have the power. Unless you're paying cash, and even then I really don't, it goes through the lender and I depend on her. Now, we try to do things on our side to set her up for success and make sure we deliver from our point, but we need her. And again, I can't stress enough how honesty with your lender, that's what's going to get you to the finish line, and do so without surprises. The more you tell her, the more she can pave the way for you to make sure that you don't get, sideswiped from something that you don't see coming, because Murphy's Law is usually pretty active in real estate. And I've seen a lot where people take care of their business, but they find out some guy in Montana jacked their credit score, 3 months ago, and he's been out just living the good life. And they don't know until they go to run their stuff, and they're like, holy crap, there's some guy in Montana running.
So I bought a car 3 months ago and my credit was good and I know my credit score. I want to go see this house. Well, you don't know what happened in the last 3 months.
Yes.
So check with the lender. Also, our credit reports are not consumer reports. So our scores are going to be different. So they're not your Credit Karma scores. They're not your scores that you're getting from the dealership. So it's free.
Yeah.
Let us look at your stuff and give you the best avenue to take to what you can purchase and what it's going to cost you.
So good or bad idea, they got that house, they're under contract. We just cleared inspections. We're excited. All we got is appraisal and we're heading to closing. Is it a good time for them to go out and get that new credit card and get all of their furniture so it'll be ready to be delivered when they move into their new house?
Same thing as buying a car. You are making a new debt. You're making a new debt that was not what I looked at when I approved you. That debt was not there. If you need to buy a stove or refrigerator, furniture because your dog chewed it up, which we know about, tell me before you do it. All you have to do is tell me, and I will say, yes, you can do it, or no, you can't. If you do, I have to update your credit report, because when you sign those final closing papers, you're saying your credit package either still looks the same as the beginning, or you told me and I updated it that this is actually the current information as of today. So if you went and made a debt and then you go to close and you didn't tell me, the papers that you're signing aren't correct because your credit package has changed and you didn't tell me. So most of the time, if somebody's buying a couple $1,000s or something, it doesn't hurt, but you don't know that you're that person until you ask me, and I tell you specifically to your situation.
So what if instead of taking out a credit card to do it, or or putting it on that deal, they go and say, they saved up this money for a down payment and they want to go spend that money instead to do it, and
are you still going to have enough money to buy the house?
Yeah, because you guys, correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
you somewhere in the transaction towards the end, you guys double check, you do employment verification.
Right, we verify employment, we verify your assets, and you bring me 2 months bank statements. But you also wrote a check for earnest money and option fee. So that money is credited back towards your down payment and closing costs. So we're going to go, you brought me 2 month statements, but we're going to get a printout to show that cleared the bank. So in between the time you gave me those 2 month statements and your earnest money cleared, did you take all your money out of the bank to pay for the furniture? So now where's your money for closing?
And do not.
And my mom's going to give it to me. My mom's going to give it back to me. You've just gotten into a whole different territory with a gift, which is allowed, but there's a lot of other documentation. So don't be mad at me when I ask you to provide extra stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. And
had you asked me, I would have told you to get your mom to go pay the cash for the furniture.
Would have been a lot easier that way. Yes. No. I had one and you answered it before I was ready. So now my new. So you already hit the credit thing. I'm looking at this list because it's got so much good stuff.
This happens.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. I recall that one specific one where we were, and actually I think it was with your mother, that we were down at a title company, and it was a sweet young lady. She was very kind, a little bit older, and she was excited. And as we were sitting at the closing table, she got emotional, and she said, I can't believe that I'm buying a house and retiring all this week. Like, this has been so much and whatever. And I remember your mom stopped and she goes, I'm sorry, do what?
You what?
And her, she was sitting over there looking at the numbers and all that. And then she said that, and your mom's face just kind of looked, and she said, I'm sorry, do what? And she said, I retired in this. And she goes, so your job that you're using to qualify for this loan, you no longer have, and you don't have any income to pay for this home. And she goes, well, yeah. And it was like,
it's the same thing as buying a car. You're changing your credit package. You're changing what you owe, or you're changing what you make. A lot of people say, okay, well, I've done this for the last 20 years, so now I'm going to go into business for myself. Okay, here's the thing. When you work for a company, you get a paycheck and they take taxes out. So you get a W-2 at the end of the year to file your tax return. When you start working for yourself, you're self-employed. You don't have a W-2, your taxes aren't taken out. For us to calculate your income, we have to have your last 2 years' income tax returns to calculate the profit that you made, what you paid taxes on. Changes the whole ball game.
And we don't, we could do segments, and we might just do it every week because there's so much stuff. But on that note, they can't, things like overtime, all that
matters. If you change jobs, depending on your specific situation, you've been working at the plant for 5 years and now you're going to go work for somebody else, but you're going to be doing the same thing. Generally, that's okay, except now we lost some overtime. So how do I know the overtime on the new job is going to be the overtime that you've been getting? How do I know the bonus income that you say you're going to get, unless it's guaranteed, is the bonus income that you got? So we understand things happen. I know things happen. Life happens. But you need to talk to me or talk to your lender before you make the decision, before you do anything, to see how it's going to affect your loan that's in process or your pre-qualification.
You made a good point with life happens. Let's say my buddy, he's hard on his luck. He's having bad times right now. Calls me up, Caleb, I need you to co-sign on this loan for me to get this house. Is that a good idea?
You just made a new debt.
Yep. Okay.
So down the road, if you are the actual co-signer and the other person has been making the payments for 12 months, we could exclude that from your debt to income ratio when you go to purchase, but not 2 months into it.
Gotcha. So
you made a debt, regardless if you co-signed or not. You made a debt because you co-signed that you're responsible with the other party.
Gotcha. So let's say I've got this, I hate banks, and so I've been keeping everything in a pillowcase. Every dollar I make, I'm shoving it in a pillowcase, sticking it under my mattress, and I've got about 20, and I really don't, so don't even come and try to rob me. I wish I had 20 grand in a pillowcase under a mattress, but I really don't. It's a story, guys. But hypothetically, I have 20 grand in a pillowcase under my bed, and now I'm ready to buy this house, and so got it under, and now I'm gonna go throw that 20 grand in the bank real quick, just so I have it to buy this house. Is that gonna cause problems if I just?
Yeah,
okay,
no, you can't use cash to close. I can't trace where the cash came from. This is the federal government. This all started, a lot of this started after September 11th.
The Patriot Act and stuff?
And money laundering. And I know you're not doing it. I don't believe anybody here in Victoria is doing it, but I can't prove that you're not. So you cannot use cash to close. If you just closed an account and you didn't go put the check in for 10 days and then you went and put it in, like you took money out of your 401k, I can trace where that money came from. If you closed out a CD and went and deposited it in a bank, I can trace that. I cannot trace cash coming out of your safe.
Gotcha.
Trace it.
So if we had to summarize, because I mean, there's all sorts of things you could do and to mess this up and screw it up. The final thing that I would stress is again, your realtor and buyers. If you don't have a real estate agent, go get one. Seller pays commission, so 99% of the time, a buyer's agent is free to you, and you have somebody there on your behalf that will help you, that will put you in contact with the lender, that can walk you over, that can help you with all these things. But that being said, again, to summarize, the best thing you can do is to be open with the people helping you, give them the information, be prepared. Buying a house is not a shoot from the hip, knee-jerk reaction type thing. You should plan for it. You should set yourself up. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's not one of those things where you wake up, you know what, I think I'm going to go buy a house today. You can sometimes, but it may not be right for you. When you rush and you cut corners, you make mistakes. And so, my opinion is to prepare yourself. Have a list of questions. Start doing some research before you get into this, so you can walk in and you can ask the things. When I bought my house with you, I had questions. Even as a realtor, there was, it's a moving target.
It's a lending side. So your expertise is helping the person find the house that's right for them, and mine is to put them in the loan that's right for them for this perfect house of theirs. So, but I can't tell you what the house you should offer. That's where I send them back to you. I don't know what the comps are on this. That's your expertise. So we each have our own, just like everybody. We have our own job that's what we know, that's what we've learned, that's what we've been doing all these years. And just like you said earlier, if we are going out for a service, and we would ask your expertise on this, because this is what you do all day. This is what we do all day. You don't buy a house every day.
Right. No, perfect. And we're going to have Miss Traci back, and we're going to go through some additional stuff. And I mean, because like she said, there are so many moving pieces in this. What is it now? PMI, MIP. I feel like I always get those two mixed up. But there's so many different things and so many different loan types. And for example, VA loan. All my veterans immediately always want to go to the VA loan, which I can understand some of why, but it doesn't mean it's the best loan, or it doesn't mean it's the best product. And I always tell them to, again, go sit with their lender and tell them your scenarios, your situation, so she can mold this experience to you to make it successful. And I want to touch, I just mentioned those loan types, and we'll wrap with this. You guys have a loan type that kind of sets you apart from everybody else. And you don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of this, because I didn't tell you I was going to bring it up right now.
Just bring it on me.
I'm trying. My computer's just decided it wanted to go to sleep. But your 15-day loan close program, cash deals a lot of times are about 12 days, and all this. The fact that you guys are closing loans in 15 days is just phenomenal. And now I openly tell, not all my buyers are ready for that, because it's a fast-moving product.
It's a very fast-moving product, and you have to know what you're doing. You have to get your paperwork together. You have to get your inspections. You have to be ready for me to order that appraisal. There's a lot of moving parts to that, so that's not for everyone.
Right.
Not that it couldn't be, but you have to listen to us. I mean, you have to get the stuff into us by this time, or we're not going to make it, kind of thing. But we've just been doing this so long that we've got it down to where if you bring us the stuff, you find them the house, the borrower brings the stuff to us, we'll move you along.
Yeah, and I typically kind of, for my rookie house buyers and I will mold the experience to them, but I typically tell them, let's slow it down a little bit and enjoy it. This is not the one, the first house is not the one you want to do 15 days on.
But it could also help you get a house when there's multiple offers and the seller is on a time schedule.
And if they do some of these things to prep and research and be prepared, then it's not, that 15 days may not be as fast because they've done their homework and their research and they've watched this video.
Paperwork and
absolutely.
Yeah,
and so tell them one more time, or tell them your company and your contact information so they can find you and get in touch with you.
So it's Wallach and Volk Mortgage. I'm right next door to Caleb.
She's right next door. Yep.
Also, Caleb, didn't you want to see if maybe there were some questions that we could answer next week?
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, if you want to, in the comments below or above, wherever they post them out, I'm going to say below, put your questions. Put your, there's a lot of them. And I know somebody, your Uncle Joe told you this, or like we said, so-and-so at work said this. Ask us. There's, and I'm not going to answer them. I'm going to punt right to her and let her do that. But ask your questions, bring them up, and we want to make this an interactive thing in future weeks. Kind of what we're looking at right now is every other Friday we will be doing listings, and then on the off Fridays we're going to do guest interviews, agent stuff, all that stuff. And so please submit your questions, your lender questions. Try to stump her. I'll tell you what, if somebody can get one she can't answer, and you find a question that stumps her, I'll get you what do you want to do, think of a good thing. I want to put it out there. I want them to really try to get you. I'll do a $50 gift card to a restaurant of your choice if you can come up with a question that stumps her. I'm not saying come up with a question
I can't answer.
Yeah, not one that stumps me. I don't pretend to be the smartest guy in the world. That might be.
I'm not going to
easy.
go buy those gift cards.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you lose it all. But I will get you a $50 gift card to a restaurant of your choice.
If you can stump the lender.
If you can stump the lender. So bring it. Give us your best shot. Again, thank you so much for joining me. You do such a phenomenal job, and I appreciate having you as a lender. She is also our Homes for Heroes lender, where when we do these Homes for Heroes deals for military, law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare personnel, teachers, you let them know you are with us, and she is our Homes for Heroes lender. And she additionally wants to say thank you for your service, for your contributions back to society. And she also discounts in there as her way to give back and say thank you. And so we're blessed to have her as part of the team. She works with every real estate company in this town, and she does a phenomenal job. She's the cream of the crop. And so thank you again for joining us. It's a real blessing having you. And we look forward to many more of these. And guys, I will be back. We're going to do an agent interview spotlight next, and with a very special agent. Hey gang, we are back, and we are doing something different this week. I'm so blessed to have so many wonderful and amazing, talented, smart, I could just keep going. I'm so blessed for the agents that work here and have decided to hang their licenses with Shaw Realty. And so I wanted to kind of do an agent highlight where I went through and every week or every other week, introduce one of my agents, talk a little bit about their story, what got them here, why they do real estate, basically introduce them to you. And so Miss Meagan Cunningham, she really has a unique and amazing story, and I wanted to share with you because I think it's worth sharing. It's inspiring, it's motivating, it shows a lot of her character, who she is, and the strength that she possesses. And so I wanted to get into that. And so Miss Meagan, thank you so much for agreeing to come out and tell your story, and I think it'll be a good one. And so I kind of want to start all the way back in the beginning, 1988. You were born. So tell me about those beginning years. How did that? No, I'm just kidding. You don't got to start that young. But all joking aside, though, what's your story? Where are you from? Were you born in Victoria?
I was born. I've been born and raised here.
Okay.
My family's been here since the early 1800s.
Wow,
yeah.
Really? All the you guys do that genealogy or whatever it is?
Yes, we did.
That's all. My grandmother had a big handwritten book that had our whole history in there, and it's really sad because she's passed now, and I realized that nobody has taken up that mantle, and our history probably just stopped. They're not going to have anything to write about us in future generations because we didn't do it, but you guys did, and you said since the 1800s?
Yes.
Wow.
There's books in Victoria that were written on my family. It's one of the O'Connors, and forgive me, I can't remember her first name, but she wrote Tales on the San Antonio River and a few other ones.
Well, that's cool.
They mention our family history.
I'm guessing your maiden name
Is Johnston.
Johnston. Okay, that's cool. And so You started work pretty early though, didn't you? Like 16 or?
16, yes.
Yeah.
I've been in sales all my life, so.
You know, it's funny to me a lot of times when you see successful people in life, and the story a lot of times is similar in the sense that they started hustling early, you know, and I kind of did the same thing. And you know, through high school and stuff like that, I had little side jobs because I figured out that you can have whatever you want in life if you're willing to work for it and put in the hours. And, you know, when everybody else is playing video games or out partying, I was working and mowing yards and stuff like that. But it helped me to earn the income at 16 to buy my own car and stuff like that. And so you did sell starting at 16. I'm guessing at 16 you lived with your parents and did all that fun stuff. And kind of take me through those later years. You started working at 16, worked in sales, so I take it you like helping people, you know, stuff like that. And so your story, you know, you later, or when did you have your daughter? Or get married? Walk me all through that fun stuff. Just let's roll it out.
2013 was a really exciting year. I bought my first house.
Okay.
And my husband proposed to me that day that we bought the house.
That's exciting.
And then 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant.
Things are moving fast. Okay.
So we had to move the wedding up. And then I had my daughter 2/13/14.
2/13/14.
February, yeah.
2/13/14. Okay, I had to say that a couple times. 2/13. Wow, that was a busy times there.
So I left. I was working at T-Mobile. I worked there for 7 years, and I left there when I was 5 months pregnant because I felt like I just needed to take care of myself, and that wasn't the kind of job I wanted to raise my daughter with crazy hours all the time.
Gotcha. So you left. You went home to take care of the little one. Take it from there.
So 2 months after I had my daughter, my mom passed away. And then I was happy that I wasn't working because I had to take care of my dad. He had never lived alone. 50.
50. So and was she sick? And
she was sick.
So it's not like something that you guys were. I mean, it wasn't a complete surprise, but not something you were prepared for, obviously.
Right. We thought she would get better.
Right.
Or we had mixed reports that she was on her way to healing, and then she got pneumonia.
And how old were you at this point?
I was
roughly
25.
Oof. And so sadly lost your mother, and that I can't imagine. And so what happened then? Where do you go from there?
Then so I'm raising a newborn, going through grieving, and then my mom's mother passed away a month later, and so she took care of me a lot when I was younger, so I took that pretty hard.
So now you've lost your mother and then your grandmother, and wow, within a month of each other, and you know,
it was like a month and 3 days. It was.
And you know, I remember where I was when I got the call of my grandmother, and it knocked me on my rear end, almost literally. I mean, I was walking down the hallway, the phone rang, I was told, and my knees buckled, and I kind of fell onto the couch because it just felt like it knocked the air out of me, and you know, and that was, I haven't lost a parent yet, and so you lost not only your parent, but then your grandmother that you were extremely close to. And sadly, that wasn't even in the end yet, was it?
No.
And I don't want to, but please continue.
Okay. Then after that, I was trying to search for what I was meant to do in life because I was like, life's so short. And now I know that even more now than I did before. And so I started searching. I became a team beach body coach. And through that, I met a lot of great people, developed a lot of relationships, and I still use a lot of what I learned today in real estate, as surprising as that is. But it just didn't develop the income that I was interested in. And
I will say Beachbody does have some great programs. I did Insanity. I think there's 3 of them now.
That one's hard.
You know, I don't think I could do Insanity anymore. What is it? What's the guy's?
Shanti.
Shanti. Yeah, I always like those because they reminded me of, I'm an athlete, and so I was always coached, and I had my stepdad and the coaches that would yell at me, not talking down to me, but motivating, you know, and always, you can do it, and so I liked Shanti, and because he was always yelling at me, and I was always yelling back at the TV, but you know, what's the other one? It's Insanity, and the guy with the Tony,
No.
It's the main one, P90X.
Oh yeah.
P90X. I can't stand that guy that runs that one. I can't stand. It's a great workout, but I can't stand the guy that runs it.
I don't like following him either.
Yeah, me either. And I yell at the TV for different reasons with him. But Beachbody does have some, all joking aside, it really does have some great workout programs that if you're consistent with them and you do them and you show up every day, you will see results. And they do have a good support network, because I have several friends that are in and out of Beachbody and stuff like that, but it fosters a mindset of helping others and serving others and kind of
Right.
trying to perform at your best. And so you, between cells growing up and then kind of getting into the Beachbody and getting those additional skills, you really kind of started leaning towards, I like helping people. I like, kind of giving back and being a part of helping people in their daily lives. And so where do we go? What happens?
So through that, I met some of my best friends, and then I developed all these extra tools, and I was still searching for more in life, like what was next? What can I do more to help people? Where am I supposed to be? And the answer still wasn't coming to me. So I was just always still searching. And then a year after my grandmother, my mom passed, my grandfather passed away. And then I was kind of realizing, okay, well, I can't go back to work yet. I still need to help my family out with everything going on. And a year after my grandfather passed away, my dad passed away, and that was the roughest, because I had been close to him growing up, but then after everyone passing, me and him just grew even closer, and we were always there for each other, and he was more like my best friend.
I bet he leaned on you, daddy's little girl, you probably were already. And then after losing his wife, your mother, her mother, I could totally see where he probably relied on you more than ever, and y'all's relationship probably grew even more intense because, that's about all you guys had was each other, at that point. And so, so you had to be strong, and you may have already said, and forgive me if I'm touching something twice, siblings. How many?
I have one brother.
Okay.
And he helped out a lot with my parents. Except he's
older or younger? Forgive me.
He's 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
He's currently going to college, and he wants to be a doctor. So
okay. Wonderful.
He was always back and forth, and we didn't want to take away from his schools too much. So.
So you kind of you stepped up then and tried to really be there and support the family, and that's a lot to take on under normal circumstances.
Right.
When everything is perfect, for lack of better terms, that's not an easy scenario. And then you mix in a young child, and then all of the but instead of letting that victimize you and laying down and giving up, you chose to channel that, and you also hit your knees in prayer, and you started taking it to God and lifting up and asking for guidance and strength and all of those things. And so, I know when we interviewed and when you whatever, and I don't want to skip ahead to that yet, but I remember you telling me that your faith played an important part and stuff, and that you felt reinvigorated through that and kind of found would you touch on that a little bit and
Yeah, so right after my dad passed away, I had nowhere else to go really, instead of leaning deeper into my faith. So that's what I did. I became more involved in the church. I read the Bible every day, and it truly guided me and brought me to where I am today. Then when I asked, what am I supposed to do, I had more of an answer. So it kind of started when I called Joyce to sell my house. And
Joyce, if you didn't know, Joyce Mitchum, Realtor. She's one of another great Realtor up here at Shaw Realty, and so she sold your house. You called her to sell your house.
I called her to sell my house. I was ready to sell that, and then I moved into my parents' house. And then after talking to her, I was kind of following her on Facebook, and one day she posted something about winning all these prizes at Shaw, and I jokingly was like, I should go work there. And she was like, yeah, you know what, that's a great idea, let's go have lunch. So she told me what was more involved in real estate, and I really liked what she had to say. And about a month later, I signed up for my real estate classes.
Well, I will tell you, I was on the other side of that and didn't know you, hadn't heard of you, anything like that. And Miss Joyce about beat down the door to come in and tell me about you. I mean, she was adamant. Like, normally Joyce is always like, hey, can I talk to you about something? Have an idea or something. It's always a very can we talk about it type of thing. There was no discussing in this one. It was basically like a breacher. She came through that, booted the door, and I was like, you need to hire this girl. Like, she is amazing. She has an amazing story. She has a heart of gold. She's inspiring. You need to talk to her. And I'm, okay, Joyce, easy. Like, does she even want to come here? Well, you better come here. And, she was, Joyce was out clearing the deck, clearing the road, clearing the debris before she was blocking for you out front before you ever got here. And she built you up really high. And I was like, I hope this girl can walk in here and deliver, because Joyce really built you up. And you know what? You did. And right off the bat, I give Meagan a hard time because sometimes it's pulling teeth to get her to talk, because she's always so focused, and that's what we're saying anyway. But but there was something right away when she was sitting there, even though it wasn't like a over verbose conversation or extra wordy. There was something about her that I knew she was hired as soon as we started talking. But you went, and forgive my memory, when you showed up, had you already finished your license? I can't remember exactly. Not yet, right? And I think did you start working with Joy, like riding around, learning, and all that kind of stuff? And good, yeah. I mean,
I never left.
Yeah, and things happen fast, like they did, and but you found a way to funnel your energy and your passions of serving and helping others. Real estate's a good career for that, and a home is the most expensive purchase that most people ever make, and so there's a lot of intensity and emotion and tied to that, and it can be a fun thing. It can be a nerve-wracking experience, but it can also be a fun experience, and so you were able to just channel everything into helping others, and very quickly you've made an impact here, and we touched on it on last week's show, but I've had a lot of fun watching Meagan's career grow because she'll think outside the box, and she'll do things that other people don't do. And like the Mr. Rogers parody that she did, just an amazing, amazing little parody that her and Steve Gonzalez did together. That the whole time I've been doing real estate, it was seriously one of my favorite videos that I've seen because of the uniqueness and the creativity behind it, and just the willingness to poke a little fun at yourself, and to go out there. And it's really easy to want to be real serious all the time when you go on here and make sure that, but your passion, again, it came through in those videos, and that's why I'm glad that you're out there doing it, because they're a little hint of who she is and the fun that she brings to the table. How's your daughter? She's doing well?
Well.
What grade is she in now?
Kindergarten.
She's a sweet one. Moving, I know I skipped ahead, but let me go back real quick. You took all that grief, you became a grief counselor, and you started helping other people. Then fast forward, now you've been at Shaw. When did you, and again, I'm sure the anniversary is somewhere around here, but I've got 12 of these things rolling around in my head.
It's around September 1st.
September 1st. Yeah, that's right, because we just hit your deal. And then last year? It's only been a year?
1 year.
Wow. Well, she has sold so many houses that it does not feel like she is a one-year agent. And here's the thing about Meagan that you guys need to know is and this really does extend to all of the Shaw agents, but Meagan sitting right here is she does not chase a paycheck. She does not chase her own happiness when she's in a transaction. She's selfless. She's there to take care of her clients. I've seen her just put in the late hours, the early mornings, and do whatever it takes to help her clients find the home of their dreams or sell the home of their dreams. And it's real estate can be a hard business in the sense, I'm sure you've already heard it in the year you've been doing it. A lot of my friends will call me up and say, hey, Caleb, I want to be a realtor. It's a quick, easy, fast way to make a lot of money.
No.
How true is that?
That's not true at all.
Not true at all. My friends, I love you, but sometimes I want to headbutt you when you say that. It's not a lot of people don't see the late nights and all that kind of stuff, and I don't say it to feel sorry for us, but I say it as a testament to the character that she brings to the table of wanting to serve and wanting to help. And what's some advice you would give to people that have faced grief in their life and they've faced adversity and maybe they're just over it and they're tired of getting their butts kicked by life every day. They're tired of just waking up and feeling defeated and they don't feel like they know what to do or where to turn, or what would you tell somebody that's just life's whooping them right now and they need some help?
Every day is a choice. So
Solid advice right there.
Yes.
Solid advice.
You could either stay, and it's all in your mind, all in your mindset. You could either stay where you are and not move forward, or you can change and make a difference in your life. And I'm here for anybody that is going through grief or feels like they're at the end of their tunnel, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and if you lean on God, He will show you the way.
I agree. I like that you said it's a choice, because, you know, just today, for example, you know, I was getting a little flustered earlier because there was so much stuff to do, and I was falling behind, and I was looking at the clock, and I was like, I'm never going to get everything done. And I started having a moment, and then my beautiful wife, thank you, Tiffany, she showed up to bring me lunch, and when I walked her out, she said, hey, you're making a choice right now to let this overwhelm you. Take it in, take a deep breath, and walk back in there and lead your office, you know, and these are choices, you know, and a lot of times we feel like that decision is made for us to lose, or that we're already beat, and if you think you're a victim, if you think you're beaten, then you are, you know, but if you refuse to lose, then you can be a champion, and you can go forward, and you can thrive and prosper, and I would agree, you know, if you can't carry that burden, turn it over to God, you know, and ask for that help, and if you seek that and earnestly seek, you know, what He has planned for you, you know, like Meagan, I think you'll find it, you know, and you got to be earnest in it, and you got to be sincere, and you have to seek, you know, but you're not alone, and you know, I'm always going to tell you to turn to God and stuff, but if that's not your thing and you just need help, reach out to people in your life. Reach out, you know, there's all sorts of different things, from family to these grief, you know, counselors and all sorts of things. You don't have to accept defeat. You don't have to accept that you've lost. You know, this life is an amazing thing when you learn how to steer it, you know, but you can't, you know, do not allow yourself to be a victim. And what, if you had to summarize and just close it all in, what would you want to say? You know, I know people are there for you. What would be your final parting advice that you wanted to give to somebody that would just help them find success and peace and you know, pursue their dreams?
Don't compare yourself to anybody else.
Good.
You are your own person, and comparison is the thief of joy. So,
No, she makes a good point on that, because I like this video stuff. I really want to get good at this video stuff. I like doing the acting and all that. Well, then Miss Meagan last week, she comes out and she does this Mr. Rogers parody and just totally whoops my butt. You know, I was like, dang it, man, her first one that she decides to do, and it's a home run. And I'm like, you know, I've tried to do like 6 of these, and none of them have hit like that. And it would be very easy to sit here and be like, well, you know, she made a better video than me, and so I'm not going to put her on camera anymore, and I'm not going to help because she's already doing it better than me. But instead, you know what I'd rather do? I'd rather do a collaboration with her. I'd rather support her, lift her up, and emulate that success. You know, if you're not doing good in your finances, it's not because somebody else has more money than you. If you're not doing, you know, your success, your well-being, all these things is your choice, you know, and yes, life happens. Yes, adversity happens, but so does the choice of what you do with it, you know, and again, Meagan is that shining example of, you can roll over and lay down and let it beat you, or you can dust yourself off and you can whoop it, you know, and that's what Meagan has done. She is an amazing agent up here at Shaw Realty. You should give her a call if you need to buy, if you need to sell, or if you just want somebody to talk to motivate you, to inspire you. She's good conversation. She's not always with me, because she can't get her to talk to me as much as she does everybody else, but we're working on that, and if I keep doing these weird videos with her and pushing her and making jokes about her not talking to me, I'm sure that's going to help everything. So, but all joking aside, Meagan, thank you for what you bring. I mean, from the moment you showed up here, you brought a heartbeat and just a sense of family to this office, and you've become a part of the web and glue that helps hold us all together, and everybody in this office is a special puzzle piece that just lines the desk and fills up the desk, but yours is important, and I want you to know that, you know, all of us, we love having you up here. We love your family. We love Kesslin, Sean, everybody, and we're grateful that you chose Shaw Realty. I just feel so blessed that Joyce, you know, that you and Joyce had that connection and you talked and you showed up here, because it, again, your laughter when I hear it through the office, your all of that. I mean, you really do bring something, and I thank you for not only inspiring us and encouraging us, but also for your truly selfless work that you do for others. And I don't even mean with just real estate. I mean life in general. You're selfless, and your kindness shows. I remember my your very first week of real estate up here. You helped one of my clients move. You know, you went while I was out of town, and you went and helped somebody move. That you didn't have to do that. You had nothing to gain from it, and you went and you did it anyway. There was no Facebook post about it. Nobody knew you were out there moving this lady's stuff, but you did it, you know, and that's who you are, you know. So I didn't mean to ramble. You're very special, and I hope you know what you bring to the table. And then we sincerely love you up here, and we're grateful to have you aboard.
I'm thankful that you listened to Joyce and gave me the opportunity.
Me too. Me too. You got anything you want to say, and before we head on out of here?
I just want to tell everybody that if they do go out and try something new, to embrace the beginning and every step of the way, because that's part of it. That's part of your journey. And that's pretty much it.
No, that's good. Guys, one last thing is I wanted to talk about Melvin's Menwear has been here for, I think, 43 years. Yes, 43 years. Melvin's Menswear has been a staple of men's clothing in this town. They're very kind people. They're very sweet people. They've earned their retirement. But going on, I just wanted to tell everybody, going on September 16th until September 21st is they're going out of business sale. And again, they've spent 43, Pat and Marvin have spent 43 years in this town serving others and really being a staple. And so please go by, shake their hand, hug their neck, tell them that you appreciated seeing them here in town. And just thank them for being such a part of Victoria and this community. That's about all I got, guys. Caleb Shaw, Meagan Cunningham, Shaw Realty, Homes for Heroes. Again, like, subscribe, all those, share, all that good stuff. If you like these videos, again, post some questions, ask, interact with us so we know we're not just wasting our time here. Got anything else? She's got nothing else. Caleb Shaw, Meagan Cunningham, Shaw Realty, Homes for Heroes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Friday.